Hello again, Ultar.
His most splendid and adventurous client.
That's your taxi?
Oh, yes, most assuredly. Most entirely splendid taxi in all Marib.
It looks like an old army truck to me.
Bah! You Americans with your checkerboard caps and your Judd Hershes. You have lost sight of what a taxi should truly be.
About 4 tons by the look of it.
There, you have hit the nail in the nutshell.
Okay, already, let's go.
Regrettably not, most esteemed fair. There is a minor problem of a tiny nature. The fan belt has taken it upon itself to break.
So, what are you gonna do?
What can I do? I must wait for a ride to the garage for a replacement.
How long is that gonna take?
1 day, maybe 6.
I can't wait that long. We gotta get moving.
But how, my friend?
I'll think of something. Is this any use to you?
My friend, the very thing, yes!
Ultar took the towel from me, cut it in 2 lengthways, and gave me half back. With his half, he did the kind of fan belt replacement that's normally done with stockings.
Now, if I knot the ends together, so... Serviceable, yes? Very serviceable indeed.
Stockings might work on a Bentley, but on a truck, the coarse toweling did the job nicely.
Come along, my friend. You want to see the bull's head? Yes!
Centuries of hot days and cold nights had opened a crack in the cliff edge, deep into the living rock. With a flourish, I tied the end of the towel to the stick with a textbook reef knot. I could see that crack would make a good anchor point. Well, that looked really safe, but I had no choice. I hadn't anticipated going mountaineering when I'd come to Syria. Close up, the niche looked somehow artificial. I didn't like the idea of putting my hand in there. But hey, what the heck? I was only risking mutilation. No blade took my hand off at the wrist, and no scorpion stung me, for which I was very grateful. But there was something in there. A metal ring, as wide as my hand. I took a firm hold of the ring, tried not to think of death traps, and pulled. Whoa there! Around the corner, I found the corpse. Oh my God. Klausner? Large as life and twice as dead. I'd hardly had time to accept the fact when I heard the door mechanism start up again. Oh man, no! The door had slammed shut, trapping me. I had a bad feeling about how Klausner had died. A stone head bearing 3 bearded faces. It was a strange image, but a powerful one, redolent with antiquity and ancient mysteries. I couldn't think of anything to do with the statue, apart from scaring small children with it. Whatever had been in the bottle had been drunk. Klausner must have died of thirst and dehydration. The pocket was empty. The smell of the corpse reminded me of something. It was my favorite brie back in Paris. I've done more fun things in my life than searching a corpse, but as my life expectancy wasn't great, I figured I should try every new challenge that came my way. I cautiously flicked open the jacket. Hey, what's this? I'd found some kind of lens. A very old lens made from a very hard glass. That settled it. The knight on the manuscript had been holding a lens the whole time, not a crystal ball. Bullwhips might be handy for exploring ancient ruins, but they're no use when you're trapped in a cave. Klausner clearly fancied himself as a latter-day Indiana Jones. I couldn't take the inscription with me. All I could do was stare at it and try to memorize it. In occidenta cita est, in ora mundi. Okay, that would have to do. The mouth's opening. It must be Ultar. My God, if he comes in, we'll both be trapped. Ultar! Don't come in! It's a trap! Stay where you are! You!
Hello, Mr. Stobart. We meet in a most unusual place. Please, do not make any sudden moves. I have no desire to maim you.
Did you say maim?
I did. Dead men tell no tales, as you say. And I want to hear everything that you have to tell me.
And what if I don't want to talk?
Then I shall, most regrettably, have to kill you. Rest assured, however, that I am an excellent shot you would not suffer.
Oh, that's good. Believe me, I'm really assured.
It is rather dark in here. I think we should conduct our business outside.
Why should I make myself an easier target?
If I fire at you, Mr. Stobart, I shall hit you even in here. But unfortunately, my marksmanship will suffer. It could be the difference between hitting you in the leg or the groin.
Boy, it sure is hot in here.
No sudden moves, Mr. Stobart. Now then, where shall we start?
How about being bosom buddies and you putting that gun away?
Klausner, do you know where he is?
Yep, he's dead. Just around the corner of the cave. You want to look?
I'll take your word for it. How did he die?
Starvation or dehydration by the look of it.
He was caught in this trap you were shouting about. Yes, I suspected as much. The Templars were not ones to give away their secrets lightly. Was he carrying anything of importance?
No, nothing.
So, why is this location important? What did the Templars hide here if not an artifact?
Well, there is something, I guess, but you can't move it.
Yes? What is it?
It's a treasure map. Yeah, X marks the spot.
Come now, do you expect me to believe that?
Yeah, okay. You caught me. But round the corner, there is something in Latin up on the wall.
Latin? Do you remember it, Mr. Stobart?
In accidenta cita est, in ora mundi.
Ah, the words of Caesar. Yes, that makes sense.
Well, I know that roughly it means to the west, to the edge of the world. But what the heck is that about?
It tells me where the sword of baphomet lies. Mr. Stobart, I am sure that you are just what you appear to be. A gifted amateur.
Thanks, I think.
But I can no longer tolerate your interference. There is far more at stake than you realize.
So what are you going to do?
I regret that we must end this here and now. Your only choice now is whether you die like a man or like a dog.
Okay, you're the boss. I'll take my medicine.
You are an honorable man, Mr. Stobart, a rare breed. I should like to shake your hand.
Yeah. Well, what the heck? Luckily, the canopy on Ultar's truck broke my fall.
Thank goodness for that.
The worst part of the experience was Ultar's driving.
What about the lens? Is it still in one piece?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's good to see you again, George.
Really? Well, I have to say, I'd have enjoyed Syria a lot more if you'd been there.
I wouldn't have been much help. Anyway, you did just fine on your own.
I'd better get back to the quest. You're back.
Oui, I have returned.
Well, I wasn't expecting to see you back here again.
No? Well, it is a strange thing, but I am here on duty.
On duty? But you're just sitting there drinking wine.
No, I am not just drinking wine. I am undercover.
I must be missing something. You're in uniform.
Precisely, monsieur. My cover is that of an indolent, wine-guzzling police officer.
You've got me convinced.
Merci. But in reality, my every muscle is poised, every nerve honed. I am drawn tight, ready to pounce. Bang!
Who or what were you planning to pizzang on?
You must have heard, monsieur, of the terror that is gripping Paris.
You mean the killings? Oh, at last, someone's taken action.
People die every day. No, I am on the trail of Sewer Jacques.
Who?
Sewer Jacques, the terror of the subterranean city. He pops up here, he pops up there. The cops, they seek him everywhere. Is he so hush or beneath the neck that damned elusive Sewer Jacques?
Bravo, that's very good.
Merci. I was up half the night writing that.
Who is this Sewer Jacques character anyway?
Ah, If we but knew that, we could have him in custody in an hour. But he is cunning to despoil the sewers of our fair city. He has committed many deceptions. He has pretended to be a police officer and deluded a poor war veteran.
Uh-oh.
He has pretended to be a jongleur
Wow, is that the time?
and an American tourist. What nationality are you, monsieur?
Canadian. Well, gotta go now. See ya. Well, it's not everyone who can say they started an urban myth. Excuse me, Father.
Pardon?
Do you mind if I ask you a few questions?
Not at all, monsieur. It will be my pleasure to help you.
How long have you worked here?
Hardly work, monsieur. This is a calling. I have been helping Father Flambert for nearly 6 months now.
I guess you don't know much about the history of this church, then.
Just a little.
You've got quite a shine on that candlestick.
Ah, oui. Anything less than best would be an insult to the Almighty.
I guess so. I never thought of it like that. What do you know about the Knights Templar?
You have come to the right place, if that is your interest. Many of them were executed in the square outside. It was a disgrace to France.
Well, the Pope was right behind it, though.
Clement V was a man of mammon, not of God.
That's kind of forthright for a priest, isn't it?
You think so? It is hard to be sure what happened. It is so long ago.
You must be proud to have such an incredible collection of stained glass.
Pride is a sin, monsieur, but it is hard not to marvel when the light shines through them. It is a fine example of the artisan's genius.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know. It is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. The statue had any secrets. It was concealing them pretty well. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. The lens fitted into the end of the scroll like a hand into a glove. Per disciplinum meum lux videbus. Hey! Distortion explosions came sharply in the book. It was a Knight Templar burning at the stake. And below him a date in Roman numerals. A Knight Templar burning at the stake. And a date. Let me see. MCCCXIV. That's 1314. To think of the long centuries that it kept its secret. The priest was still busy with the chalice, so I decided to have another look around the church. A knight there in the company of his fellows. Biblical references engraved into the tomb edge to guide his way to the next world, I guess. Somehow it looked more modern than its neighbor. A row of old pews, beautifully carved and glowing with polish. I thought of all the people who must have sat here over the decades. All those Parisian derrieres, firm buttocks of the young ladies, the flabby flesh of the old men. That wasn't a pleasing image, so I went back to the young ladies. Whoa! In comparison to its neighbor, it looked pretty plain. Hey, thanks.
It is my pleasure, monsieur.
What was the writing on the chalice?
It was not writing, my mistake. It was a coat of arms. The remarkable thing is that it seems very familiar.
Yeah?
Oui, I think I have seen it on that wall tomb in the far corner. That winged horse is quite distinctive.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Now that my attention had been drawn to it, there was no mistake. There was no name on it, but the coat of arms was undeniably the Pegasus of the de Vasconcellos family. I'd found the last resting place of Don Carlos. My eye was drawn to the biblical references carved into the edge of the tomb. Hey, maybe these biblical references mean something. Psalms 22:21. Not much to go on, but it must have meant something. If I examined the tomb more closely, there might be other clues to find. Corinthians 14:5. John 4:11. Psalms 32:7. The numbers referred to a chapter and a verse in the Bible. There were no more references to find, but a series of Roman numerals ran around the plaque. I made a note in case they meant something. Psalms 32:7. John 4:11. Corinthians 1:4-5. And just one more. Psalms 22:21. I may not be perfect, but I've got a memory like a steel trap. The chalice had led me to these inscriptions, but it looked like a happy coincidence to me. After all, the de Vasconcellos arms were already on the manuscript. Note, I was still convinced that the chalice had some significance all of its own. I solved another puzzle.
You did?
Well, I guess I did.
Well, what was it? What's the answer?
1314.
What does that mean?
It was the date when Jacques de Molay was burned, wasn't it?
Of course.
The answer was hidden in a stained glass window. When I looked through the lens, the picture changed. It became a man surrounded by flames.
It seems to me the answers to the Templar puzzles are as cryptic as the clues. Sometimes I wonder if the manuscript isn't an elaborate joke.
The Knights Templar weren't the kind of people to play jokes, were they? Look at the chalice now, Nico.
What happened? It's shiny.
The priest at Montfaucan buffed it up for me.
That's incredible.
Yeah, looks as good as new.
No, you found a use for a priest. That's incredible.
I'd better get back to the quest.
Hello, George.
I brought you a present from Syria.
Oh, George, you shouldn't have bothered. What is it?
This.
A necklace. It's rather heavy.
Ethnic craftsmanship at its most rustic.
Oh, of course, I love it.
You do?
It will always remind me of you.
I'd better get back to the quest. Hi, André.
Hello, Georgie. Where have you been? Nico said you were away.
I just returned from Syria.
Syria? On the trail of the Templars?
It's a long story, but I found the bull's head. It was referred to on the manuscript, remember?
Yes. What is it?
A secret cave built into a high cliff face. In the cave, I discovered a map bearing a phrase in Latin. In accidenta sita est in ora mundi.
The island of Britain.
Lies at the edge of the world to the west.
Strange. That map seems to contain a series of pointers.
Like I said, it's a treasure map. While I was in Syria, I discovered a strange pagan statue. It was like a head with 3 bearded faces. Horrible.
That sounds as if it could be Baphomet, the idol described by the Templars.
The poor Knights of Christ had an idol that looked like that?
Allegedly. The description of the idol came from the evidence extracted by the Inquisition. Mind you, Not one statue or idol was ever found on Templar property. Until now, that is. Just last month, a statue of Baphomet was unearthed right here in Paris.
Where?
At the Institut Hermétique de Naval. The statue is beneath the foundations. It was discovered by some workmen while renovating the building.
Can you tell me any more about the statue of Baphomet?
It's a fearful image, even now. A bearded head. The base of the statue is carved with Templar symbols. One of the workmen noticed a curious stain at the base. He claimed it looked like blood.
Blood?
That's right.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, could you help me?
What is it?
I've got a few questions. You're doing a fine job.
Merci. I have my professional pride.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gauloise smoke so stylishly.
It's a natural talent.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm being indifferent.
You're very good at that as well.
Merci. Vive l'indifférence.
So, what are you doing here?
I am having my break.
Yeah, I mean when you finish your break.
When I finish my break, an interesting concept, monsieur.
You'll probably need to think about it.
I could have another cigarette while I consider. Perhaps tomorrow too.
Okay, let me put things differently. What were you hired to do here?
I was hired to keep the archaeological dig in the basement of this building clear of debris, and to touch up damage to the door frames with my little pot of paint. It's a very responsible job. Unfortunately, I'm not a very responsible person.
So what do you know about the excavation?
I know they won't let me in to do my job. I would complain to my union, but
You couldn't be bothered to join.
Right. Tell you what, though, I'm surprised at the sort of people interested in this excavation.
What's unusual about the visitors to the excavation?
None of them look like archaeologists to me.
Do you know what an archaeologist looks like?
Three-piece suits, crocodile-eyed attaché cases, Rolex oyster.
But no archaeologist dresses like that.
Quite right, monsieur, quite right.
So, who are they?
Who cares as long as they pay me?
Have you seen this man before?
Yes, he asked me a lot of questions, just like you.
What does the word Templar suggest to you?
Templar?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur. Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Pah!
The painter had a pot of gunmetal gray primer hanging from the barrier. A thermostat was mounted over a radiator. The radiator was pumping out heat as the thermostat was cranked right over to full. No wonder it was warm in here, even with the door open to the chill of fall. A guard stood by a door I guessed led to the excavation. He looked pretty pompous. Well, not so much pretty, just pompous. Hi? Excuse me? Oui? So, what exactly are you doing here?
I'm guarding.
You expect to find me shearing sheep?
Take it easy. I just didn't realize you were a guard. I'd like to know what you're guarding, please.
That's a secret.
It wouldn't happen to be an archaeological site, would it?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Then why ask?
I had a feeling this was no normal hole in the ground. It sure is hot in here.
I have to have the door open to allow the workmen access, so why not? I turn the heat up.
You could wrap up warm.
I have my gloves if it gets cold, but why bother when it's warm anyway?
What do you know about the Knights Templar? There was a long pause during which the guard said nothing. Then he said,
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Is this a test?
What, like a history pop test?
No, like a test.
Okay, yes, it's a test.
Then I know absolutely nothing about the Templars.
The guard was being amazingly evasive. It was going to take more than goodwill to get past him. Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer.
That door's locked, monsieur.
Hi again.
What is it?
I'd like to use the washroom, but the door's locked.
Oh, that's no problem. You can have the key.
Thanks. Being in a charming comfort station like this made me think fondly of the toilet in Syria. That place was kept in pretty good order. At least, it had been until I vandalized it. Still, it was all for a good cause. The thing felt really hot. Big demands seemed to be being made on it. Perhaps I could make a copy of the key. The key had made a clear imprint in the soap. The bar of soap had the imprint of a key in it. It was a handful of plaster left in the castle by Pegram's archaeology team. I knew keeping that plaster was a good idea. With the plaster and the imprint, I was on the right lines. I had filled the key's imprint in the soap with dry plaster. You can't make a cast without wetting the plaster. But wet plaster alone does not make a cast. I used the dryer to speed up the process. Well, it had taken a while, but I had made myself a completely unconvincing plaster key. Way too fragile to use in a lock. I'd have to substitute it for the real one. Trouble was, it looked like plaster and not metal. Then again, that plaster statue in Syria hadn't looked like stone until I'd been a bit artful with it. Maybe I could improve the key as well. Hi again.
What is it?
Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
I turned the heating off. As I'd hoped, the guard put his gloves on.
Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. Pah!
Do you mind if I use the phone?
Be my guest. I'm paid to guard this door. The phone can look after itself.
Couleur.
Hello, Nico. It's me.
Hi, Georges. What's happening?
I'm at the excavation, but they won't let me in.
Damn. We need to know what's in there.
Don't worry. I've got a scheme. I'm going to need your help, though.
Okay. What do you want me to do?
I want you to keep somebody on the phone for a while.
Who?
A painter. I need to get at his pot.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the line. I'll go and get him. Hi, it's me again.
What now?
You've got a phone call.
For me? Are you certain?
It's a woman. She sounded hot.
What woman? She must be mistaken, monsieur.
Well, she asked for that hunk of a man with the nicotine fingers and his ass hanging out of his pants.
Certainly sounds like me. Stand back. It wouldn't do to keep the lady from her hunk. Well, monsieur, what a strange woman. She was all over me, and then suddenly, nothing but abuse.
Really?
Why, abuse? Ah well, I have a cigarette to finish. And monsieur, if she calls again, I am not available.
Hi again.
What is it?
I need to use the toilet again.
Again? Already?
I have this problem. How technical do you want me to get?
Never mind. Here's the key.
The door was locked. The plaster key had soaked up the paint nicely, and now looked pretty convincing. Still felt like plaster, though. Now, I'd substituted the fake key for the excavation key. It looked okay, but felt false. Hi again.
What is it?
I held my breath and hoped that he wouldn't notice the substitution. Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hi, Nico. It's me again.
I'd guessed. What do you want this time?
What did you say to the painter?
I shan't repeat it, George.
Look, I need to get the guard out of the way. Could you call back and ask him to get the painter again?
Okay, I'll call back soon.
This looked like a good place to watch things develop.
Hey, you! It's the phone.
Yeah? Who is it?
How should I know? What am I, your social secretary?
It's not a chick, is it?
Yes, it's a woman. Are you going to answer it?
Does she have a warm, sensual voice like molten chocolate?
Yes, yes, she has a really sexy voice. Now get a move on.
I'm not talking to her.
I can see that. You're wasting time talking to me.
No, you don't understand. I refuse to talk to her.
You refuse. You refuse. I'm wasting valuable time.
Don't make me laugh. Your time valuable? You just stand around all day.
I have a highly responsible job. Pah, don't pah me, you elephantine oaf. My job is important.
Impossible. They would have hired somebody competent in that case.
Meaning what?
Instead of which they hired a dismal rent-a-cop like you. All epaulettes and no brains.
Why, you...
This looked set to carry on for some time. It was too good an opportunity to miss. Close up, the pattern didn't make any sort of sense. It fanned out around an axis point, a kind of focus to one side. It was hard. And there it was, decoded by the curves of the chalice, the image of a church. I found out what the chalice was for.
You've solved the puzzle?
Yeah, there was a distorted picture at the baphomet site. When I viewed it in the polished surface of the chalice, it changed.
What did it show?
A picture of a church with a square tower. I guess I'd better return the chalice to the Countess.
Hurry back, Georges.